Hello everybody, I am here in beautiful yet windy Jerusalem, and I want to talk to you about an event that happened the last week of Jesus' life, and in particular the last day. Let me show you. Jesus was with his disciples up on Mount Zion in this area, and he went with them to pray, and let me show you where that was. They walked down this hill and over to the Garden of Gethsemane. You see the gold dome church? That's the area of the Garden of Gethsemane, and they were there praying, and you know the story. Eventually Judas came with the guards. They would have come from a place called the Antonia Fortress, which was up on the Temple Mount, right next to where the Golden Dome is located today. They went over to the garden to get Jesus, and then they brought him through the Kidron Valley and up the steps to the house of Caiaphas. Let's go visit it. So here we are at the house of Caiaphas. Again, they were in the Garden of Gethsemane right over there. Judas came to get them from the Antonia Fortress, and they walked through the Kidron Valley and up these steps that you see right here to take Jesus to Caiaphas, the high priest's house. There's a church here today. It's a pretty church. It's called St. Peter's in Gallicantu, which means the place where the rooster crowed, the church. Let's go down there. They came down the valley and they started walking up some steps, and they brought Jesus to these steps that you can walk on today, and I'm going to walk on up these steps along with a few tourists from Spain and some from Bulgaria today. The high priest's house, now there is a church that was built on this site, but during the time of Jesus it was a house. It was his residence. So they walked up these very steps that I am walking up right now. And if you remember, Simon Peter followed Jesus from a distance. And when he got into the courtyard, right next to Caiaphas's house, probably in this area right here, by the way, look at the spring flowers coming out. It was right here in this, what is now ruins, area of courtyard, next to Caiaphas's house, where Peter was approached by someone and said, "Hey, aren't you one of his disciples?" And he said, "No, I'm not." A few minutes later, someone else approached him and said, "Are you sure? Are you sure you're not one of his disciples?" And he said, "No, I'm not." And then, of course, finally, he denied Jesus the third time. It was at that time that the rooster crowed, and he remembered Jesus saying that he would do exactly that when they were having the Last Supper on top of this very hill. Could it be here that it's where Peter denied Jesus 3 times? Perhaps. In the shadow of the temple, and in the shadow of a place that Peter would know just a short time later as the place where Jesus would ascend into heaven, and Peter would go on to become the greatest evangelist in the church. Anyway, this is St. Peter's in Gallicantu, place where Peter denied Jesus.